You left school at 16?
16.
And what did you leave school to do? Did you just want to get out of school, or did you have a plan in mind at that point?
Well, I went through different things I wanted to be. I wanted to be an astronaut. And then I wanted to be from an astronaut to a postman. And I thought that might be fun to do for a while. I went through these Royal Navy, because my father was in the war, in the Royal Navy. And then a musician, but then I didn't really have the talent for it. I have a facility for it, but not a talent, I don't think. And so that wasn't going to be soccer. I was a good football player. Soccer, that was something I seriously considered, and many believed I would do it. Actually, I used to play for the county. I done all sorts of things. When I left school, I did graphic design, and I used to do the typography on the back of album covers. My very first gig, sort of on my own, was to design the sheet music cover for the Drifters in a song that was called "Blow Your Whistle." And in those days, we used a thing called, does anyone here know what letraset is?
Oh, yes.
It's going back, isn't it?
And very fiddly it is too.
Yeah, and you would prepare the artboard and anyway, I letrasetted the name. But I'd left the H out of whistle. And they printed 1,000 copies.
So you decided to become an actor.
So I decided to become an actor.
If looking at a film that you later wrote and directed, Nil by Mouth, if that relates to the kind of childhood you had in Southeast London, I imagine it was a pretty tough upbringing.
Yes, it was. It was interesting childhood. In the movie you have the girl, the daughter who doesn't talk, and is sort of just really catatonic from the whole experience, just this passing in front of her, and I was the sort of that's me really. If I'm in the film at all as a character, then I would be the little girl that just watched it all going on.
Now, you went into the theatre straight after college. Was that a good grounding for exactly what you're talking about, this process of learning your craft, as opposed to going straight into movies?
Oh, well, movies were you never imagined that you would be in movies. Movies that Michael Caine did movies, Sean Connery, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, they were in movies. I trained for the stage. That was your training. There was no television training. Now they have courses, and you have film acting. There was nothing like that. When I was at drama school, and it is going back a while, it was radio. You trained also for radio, where you had to you had to turn the page away from the microphone. It was lovely to see you, Vicar.
Talking about someone else who killed someone else, thinking about your performance as Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
There you were working with a director, Oliver Stone, with a very distinctive style. Was he helpful to you, his method of filmmaking, helpful to you in getting to the heart of that very strange man?
It was. There was very little of Oswald on the page, and Oliver gave me a couple of airline tickets, some contact names, and said, go to Dallas, go to New Orleans, and find out who he was. And so I met a bunch of people.
What sort of people did you meet?
Oh, just people that worked with him and that were in the Cuba, the chapter there in New Orleans, and then
the Free Cuba campaign.
Yeah,
that
that's
thing.
it. And then that would lead to you'd meet someone in a bar. You were like an investigator, really, more than an actor. And you'd meet someone in a bar, and then they would talk, and they say, "Oh yeah, but Joey used to know. Joey lived over on the thing, and he before he got involved with that, he knew Dave Ferry, who, he said, you got to meet so and so, and then I'd get another a number, and then I would, and it was very sort of, this is before cell phones, so I'd be on the corner of putting my dime in.
Wow.
On the corner, saying, is Joey there? And I would go and meet all these rather interesting people. I met Marina, the wife, and the daughter.
What did you make of her?
She's bitter.
Yeah. Well, understandably, I
and
suppose.
yeah, and understandably so. And of course, they then had to move away because the name Oswald was. He was the man. He was the man that, took Camelot down.
Destroyed America. Yeah.
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 But you can't you can't work with Oliver Stone and say, listen, between you and me, I think he did it.
Yes.
You get that would be
You'd be off the picture.
so you're with Oliver, and I think he was peripherally involved. I do believe so, and I believe he was set up, and that he wasn't the shooter. There's too many
odd things.
There's too many odd things now, whether we'll ever really know the truth of it. But I think Dave Ferry had something to do with it and flew a couple of guys in. My belief is that it's probably French shooters, European, that came in. There was a shot from the grassy knoll. It blew the back of his head off. So it came from the front. I don't know what bullet does, shoots from the back and does that. But so we went, I kind of go along with the fact that he was involved in some capacity, but I don't think he was.
He wasn't the mastermind.
No.
Not a lot of controversy, but a lot of joy with the Harry Potter movies. A lot of joy for audiences. Was Sirius Black a part that you enjoyed?
Yeah, I enjoyed the whole being a whole part of it, the whole thing. My fan base went from 40 to 4. I sent a little letter to someone, a friend of mine. His girls love Harry Potter, and I write little stories as Sirius Black. I write as Sirius and sign it Sirius Black, and I got a rubber, the wax with the stamp, with the thing, and it's red paper and it's black envelopes, and it's and because they love it. These fans love this, and I just actually received an email today from one of them saying thank you very much for our letter, and you see the joy. That these kids have, they take from it, So it was, so that in part, it was great growing up, watching Dan grow up, and Emma and Rupert, and watching them grow up, watching Alan Rickman get older. He would because I think he designed that costume.
Really?
And we all came back and got we were all a little bit bigger around the middle. And but they were they're phenomenal kids. And it is a cinematic. It's a phenomenon. There's nothing like it. There was nothing before it. There's going to be nothing like it again. For 10 years, to consistently keep the quality of it. David Heyman has got to be the luckiest producer in the world. He went back to the cast. He got the cast back every single time, And who would have known? And also a nod to Chris Columbus, who began the world. He built the kitchen. All the other people came in and cooked, but he designed the recipe. Who, when he cast those kids, who would have known that they would have had the chops really to carry those movies for 7 years?
And
9 years or whatever whatever it's been.
It should be noted that Daniel Radcliffe has spoken, very warmly about how you have helped him in his development as an actor, and just how much he looks up to you for what you've done for him during the course of the movies.
I've always been. I would never be presumptuous enough to take an actor or a younger actor aside. But I think you can teach through sort of power of example.
Perhaps it plays to that. One of the things that was said about the other franchise you've hit the bullseye with, the Batman with Christopher Nolan. That one of the critics remarked of your performance as James Gordon that it is so skilled it makes virtue look exciting, which is
Rolling Stone again.
What can I say?
But well, you remember those, don't you? I mean, if someone says you make virtue look exciting, you're going to remember it. It's sort of like,
Which must be an interesting compliment for you, bearing in mind, the number of magnificent villains you've done. I imagine it is harder to make virtue look exciting.
Well, I can't give the secret away. No, I think you are to some extent. You do get a bit typecast. I haven't played as many villains as people think, but they always say, you always play villains. If you actually went through the list, there's very few. But they remember that bloody Luc Besson movie.
Yes.
Leon.
Yeah.
They remember Leon and me taking pills and blowing things up. But you are at the mercy of the industry. So there are roles that you might like to play, but you're never even going to get in the door. The mind's made up. The director wants this guy, and that that I've lived in that. You swim in that sea. That sea of rejection is just you have to get a tough skin, because that's what you face from the very beginning. Doors closing on you. So you are at the mercy of the industry and the imagination of the people that are casting. And it takes a Chris Nolan to actually say, I think Gary could play a good guy. And why not? Why doesn't he play Jim Gordon? Who is in a way the best guy? He's just, everything is, it's a bit like our friend Smiley, it's moral certainty. There's no self-aggrandizement. There's no ego. It's about doing the job.
Rolling Stone actually described you as Hollywood Psycho Deluxe. That's quite an achievement.
I have a new one now.
What is that?
Thomas Alfredson calls me the Swiss Army knife of acting. I like that. I like it. Hollywood Psycho Deluxe.
Pretty good, isn't it?
Well, it's deluxe. Sometimes things happen. But you're on a set. I had a line in Leon, or The Professional, where I turn around and say, "Bring me everyone." And then the guy says, "Everyone?" And I go, it was a joke to make Luke laugh. I just did it in a take.
Right.
I was just messing around. And I said, that'll make him laugh, And he went, "I love it, it's in the movie."
Very good.